What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Nick at Night. That's right, we have another stack of books to go over, non-spoiler review. So this is our non-spoilers on our books from July 14th. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back to Nick at Night. We are going to be going through these books, and there's a stack of them. No coffee tonight, because I'm actually going to bed after this, but gotta stay hydrated though, right? So as always, we're going to go through the big two first. We have Thor, number 15. So this is Donny Cates, this book. So Thor is basically done with Donald Blake. He's kind of wrapped that up, but the arc that we kind of had, or the little underlying story that we had in the beginning of this, was that Mjolnir is getting heavy. Thor is not able to kind of wield it as easily as he's has done in the past or up until now. So he's still trying to understand what that means. And so he's trying to come to grips with, him being king versus him being Asgard's warrior, being the hammer of Asgard, right? So he's just trying to figure out why this might be happening and trying to plan for the future. There is some Avengers and some Earth hero action in this one as well. Some interesting Loki scenes in here too, and kind of a shocking little cliffhanger at the end. Not a whole lot happens, but it kind of picks up the narrative that we started before the whole Donald Blake thing. So, why is the hammer getting so heavy? What's going on with Thor? What is he thinking? What could possibly be the cause of this? We get a little bit more of information on that end of it, and then we're left open again for issue number 16. So not a bad issue, kind of picks up the narrative where it left off, before the whole Donald Blake thing. So not too bad. Not great, not too bad though. So, speaking of great, not too bad, we're still on Marvel with their page quality. So we're on Spider Shadow number 4. I feel like coming out of King in Black, I'm kind of like symbioted out. And this is essentially, how many different things can you do with the symbiotes, right? The symbiotes are going to be latching on the people. They're going to be terrorizing the town, killing everybody, taking over buildings, kicking everyone's butt, taking over more bodies. So that's just what they do, right? So this is just another story. So Spider-Man finally breaks free of the symbiote, but now it affects some of his allies. And so now he's trying to team up with some of the other heroes to go save the Fantastic Four, go save Reed, go save the Thing. So trying to go see what they can do. I'm not a giant fan of this issue. There's some things in it that works pretty well, I think. But at the end, things don't really turn out the way that they had planned. They kind of were going to go in and just kind of attack this thing or try to assess the situation. It gets the upper hand on them. And I think we're going to have to probably rely on our villains to save the day at the end of this, because there's not many people left. So not a whole lot of spoilers, but Spider's Shadow is interesting. But I think coming out of King in Black, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm over the symbiotes for right now. But I don't know. It's okay. It wasn't bad. The art's okay. Our art's okay, and the overall story is okay. But maybe I just read too many symbiote things lately. I don't know. Maybe. What'd you guys think of that? So going on, keeping the Spider-Man theme going, we have the next one, Sinister War number 1. So I don't know. I'm not reading the main Spider-Man run. So Nick Spencer is doing this. Mark Bagley's doing the pencil. And this one is focused on Mary Jane a lot in the beginning, which is fine because, Mary Jane's a very interesting, dynamic character. She can be written well. She can be written badly. And so this one right here kind of focuses on her, a slight betrayal or secret that she's holding from Peter. And then kind of they're going to like a movie debut, and then kind of all hell breaks loose. All these different villains coming in. All of them are there for all different kinds of reasons. And it's just a gigantic mess of a battle inside this theater. So I'm going to show you a spread. So they're all just going crazy. They're all attacking Spider-Man. They're attacking this other mysterious guy who's there that I won't spoil for you. They're trying to get Mary Jane. They're trying to get this other guy to join their ranks. It's just kind of a hodgepodge mess. I didn't really like it too much. There's lots of action. lots of action. I just didn't really care, I guess. I don't know. Sinister War #1. What did you guys think of it? Not what I was expecting. I mean, Sinister War, I suppose, if I really read into it, it would be a bunch of bad guys fighting and maybe them getting in the middle of it. I'm not sure. Not what I expected. Don't know if I'll be keep it on my pull list, but let me know what you thought about it, because I'm interested to know the people who are keeping up with Spider-Man and kind of know the standard that Spider-Man's at right now. Is this on par? Is this above? Is it below? Is it better than you thought it was going to be? Let me know, because I'm still like brand new to Spider-Man, so trying to figure out if that's just par for the course or not, so I can set my expectations appropriately. All right, well, that was the only Marvel books I got. On to DC, we have Infinite Frontier #2. This book was interesting as well. You know, we have Batman, we have Superman kind of being interrogated. I forget this girl's name. Agent Case. So Agent Case kind of is asking Batman and Superman more about just the multiverse, the omniverse, right? Like, it's normal for them because they've known about it for a little while, but now the general public knows about it, and everybody is just really curious about their place, and what it might mean for, you know, their futures, and rightfully so, right? Because it's just not something that they're all used to, the whole rest of the world. She's trying to dig around a little bit, trying to get some more information. Additional crises has come up, and so Batman and Superman kind of take off and go save the day. We get some Earth Zero folks just arguing here. I didn't quite understand a lot of this. I don't really know who Moag is or whatever this guy's name is. I don't know. There's a lot of characters in here that I just don't know, and therefore I don't care about. I mean, there's whole panels, there's whole spreads, page after page of characters that I just don't know about. And I'm sure their history and I'm sure their characters are really, really interesting. But I'm reading through here going, oh, okay, here's a couple guys with some eye masks, and here's a guy with a cape, and they're fighting, and they're sons and fathers, and then whatever. But, you know, eventually we get to some interesting stuff here where we kind of get this like black ring, right? And so we're trying to figure out if he's going to be called Black Arrow or not. Pretty interesting stuff. I actually liked that particular part of issue #1, but it seems like everyone's kind of getting sucked up to be Darkseid's like army, right? So I don't know if it's like, if he's just kind of pulling the strings and kind of, you know, building his army, but we got a lot of people all of a sudden involuntarily joining Darkseid. And so it sounds like Darkseid's trying to build his army, and we're going to get another gigantic battle very soon with Darkseid and his army. So we're going to figure it out. Infinite Frontier suffers from things that I've said about DC and Marvel books a lot in the past. If you don't know tons and tons of the characters they don't really focus on too much, you're going to have a third of the book related to them, and you might not know what's even going on, but it introduces you to those characters so that you can recognize them in the next event that they do, whenever they do it. So I don't know. Those kinds of books are not for me, but I still read them just to kind of get familiarized with the characters. So let me know what you guys think about that. I don't want to be too harsh, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind reading a Batman Superman book, but when, you know, half of the book is characters that they don't really focus on in other books, I don't know. I'm not sure. This is Batman the Detective #4. So I really actually enjoy The Detective, and this book is kind of cool because it's more of a detective story. So we have a cocky Batman who's kind of been framed for this murder of his friend, and he's being interrogated, or so he thinks. And so things don't go according to plan, and he kind of gets thrown into his own the plan that he's trying to dissolve. So basically, there's an organization trying to undo the lives that Batman has saved. So like, if Batman saves a train of people from derailing because of some villain, this organization found out all the people on that train, and they're going and hunting them down and killing them. Well, Bruce Wayne has been saved by Batman, you know, dozens of times probably in the course of how many years. And so Bruce Wayne is also on these people's list. So what does that mean? I don't know. Who can he trust? Apparently not a whole lot of people, but he's still extremely resourceful wherever he is overseas. So he's actually got little mobile bat caves, and he's got some allies. And he's calling in additional reinforcements because he kind of knows that this is getting way out of hand very quickly. So I'm actually loving the detective, Batman the Detective. So check it out. It's a different kind of Batman run. If you're not liking the original or the main Batman run, maybe check out the Detective, because I'm having a blast with it. All right, what else we got? We got one more DC book, and then, oh my God, we got a stack of independents to go through. So this is the Joker. This is issue number 5. So this book was, first off, it was good. It was a good book. It was a filler book, but it was a good filler book. It's a 100% backstory. It is 100% backstory from years ago. What was it? Year 1, 2, or 3, something like that. So it's a Jim Gordon. It's a Joker book. It kind of builds on the obsession that Jim has with the Joker. You know, him and his wife are in counseling. He's never there mentally, emotionally, physically, not there. And he's just kind of wrapped up with this Joker character. And this is kind of, you know, going into the story of how he doesn't trust Arkham. He doesn't trust that they can keep the Joker secure. He kind of proves him right. The Joker proves him right over and over again inside of here. So he's trying to negotiate with the owners or with the people running the asylum and just making sure that, you know, Joker can escape. Anyways, this is all backstory. It does not progress the story at all. It just further builds the relationship that Jim and the Joker have. Was it needed? No, it wasn't needed at all. Does it give me more context as to the, you know, the emotion, the motives, the whatever that Jim has and the Joker has? Yeah, it was a fun read, but it doesn't push the story forward, in my opinion, at all. So you could skip it if you wanted to, and you'd be perfectly fine. But I think it just kind of adds more weight. It adds more drama. It adds more backstory to this relationship that we've already seen before. So maybe you don't want to skip it. But if you do, totally fine. But it was fun, though. All right, stack of books. So we have Canto Volume 3, Number 1. This is Lionhearted. So this one is basically picking up, obviously, with Canto and his friends. They're kind of rallying the troops. They're trying to plan their attack on the Shrouded Man. How can they possibly go up against this force? Who's going to be needed? What additional allies? Are they going to have to go somewhere they don't want to go to get some additional allies to build up their ranks? If they don't, the Shrouded Man will. It's one of those situations, right? Kanto's kind of in a tough spot because, you know, his heart was replaced. The Shrouded Man can kind of like is like in his head a little bit. So whatever Canto knows, the Shrouded Man has access to it. So it's like, how do you plan a battle against someone like that? So they got to get a little clever. His friends help out a little bit, and so we're trying to figure out how we're gonna get past all this. So really, really cool issue. Art is amazing. They're just, you know, I feel like this was better than the last 3 issues of the Volume 2. So I hope it's going to be fast paced, action, dramatic. You know, hit you in the feels. I'm really looking forward to the rest of these issues. Canto number 3. Loving the volume so far. We're only 1 issue in though. All right, so this is a great book. This is Boom. This is Eve number 3. So Eve number 3 was fun. It's you know, so our character basically, she wakes up and she was in the Matrix the whole time. Her father's gone. Her father kind of built this AI, put it in the body of this robot, the bear, who's been kind of guiding her and showing her the world. And she's trying to kind of branch out and see what's out there, right? Trying to save the world. But we kind of learned some interesting motives of the bear in this issue. Our girl Eve, she comes across this other like clan of, you know, they look like kids, maybe kids or you know, kids up into their 20s or 30s or whatever. And we think she's kind of like met the wrong group, right? That they're going to kill her. But they kind of glossed over that whole thing pretty quickly. They bring her in, they stock her with supplies, take her to the train station and progress her right on, right? And so it's kind of like weird because we kind of thought that these guys were going to be trouble. They brought her right in and they just kicked her right out. They have a good reason to, because typically people that come in from the outside are infected and, you know, they just don't want to take that risk. So they kind of keep everyone who's there, and they don't really bring anybody else in. But she has a little bit of drama with them and stuff. And so then we get a little bit more story about the bear that's been following her. And we get a pretty shocking little revelation at the end, and a little cliffhanger as well. So things aren't quite what they seem. There's some cliffhangers at the end. Eve, number 3, pretty interesting story. Some confusing parts in it. Not like I didn't understand what they were doing, but I just kind of didn't expect them to gloss over a few things. And they added 2 big twists at the end, which I did not see coming. So good for them for, pushing the story in a direction I didn't know. I couldn't predict. But there was a couple little moments in here that were glossed over pretty quickly. All in all, it was still a fun read. And I'll, obviously keep picking it up, but wasn't exactly what I was expecting, which is fine. But yeah, Eve number 3, not entirely bad. A couple little weird things in it, but I think it was still pretty good. All right, moving over to Valiant. We got Ninjak number 1. We got Jeff Parker. Man, so I would like to know in the comments how many people read Ninjak back in the day, or if Ninjak was even a run that was going on, for the past 10 years, and maybe it was just not very popular or anything like that. But if you've been like a big Ninjak fan for a long time, let me know if you have. And then number 2, if you actually got this book. This reminds me a lot, and I think I'm getting the plot right. This reminds me a lot of the Mission Impossible, the first movie with Tom Cruise. Not the first movie, but the Tom Cruise version of Mission Impossible 1. Kind of where they have this this file that has like all the agents' names and all their personal stuff and everything. So like if it got into the wrong hands, it'd be an awful thing, right? This is essentially the same kind of story. Something happens, there's like a data breach, won't go into how. Ninjak becomes aware of it, and all of a sudden it's a big problem for a lot of people, right? So he's trying to figure out, get some allies, trying to get some answers. Interesting story. The art is a little bit weird. Let me see if I can find you. Yeah, I can show you this panel. So like a lot of use of the same kind of colors, very, very bright and vibrant in a lot of the pictures, but lacking a lot of detail. Paneling is very interesting, and they use they use a lot of close-ups in this book. And it kind of works, but like I'm used to books that deal with like swordplay and stuff, like Something's Killing the Children. And I'm sure there's other books, I can't think of it, but like the bad guys almost look like Simpsons characters. It almost looks like a Simpsons book, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that's probably not a great comparison, but like, I don't know, the art was very, very plain, not very detailed. And I don't know, maybe that's great and people like that, but I just didn't expect that. It wasn't really my cup of tea. So overall, the story is very, very familiar, and the art was kind of meh. But let me know what you thought about Ninjak, because I've been curious to see how it would turn out, and it's not anything like I thought it was going to be. And the story is very familiar, and the art was kind of blah. So I don't know. I'm not going to keep picking it up, I don't think. All right, W. Maxwell Prince. We have Ha. What number is this? Good Lord. This is issue number 6 with that great homage cover. So I got all the Ice Cream Man, Dr. Seuss covers. And so this one is just a no-brainer when my store had it. Really like it a lot. This one, it's a familiar story. It's about our clown who's just, going through a lot. He's depressed. He's, can't find good work. He's got complaints at work. He's trying to kind of figure out what to do. And then this book is completely full of Easter eggs from Ice Cream Man, from Ha, all these different past characters showing up left and right. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, and I wonder if they kind of had the foreshadowing to kind of plant to know this issue would come out eventually. And I'm wondering if we go back in those other issues, we see this clown walking around, and maybe this clown's like a hallucination in those other stories to those characters, like if the guy in the hospital with the gremlin. I can't remember if that was a Ha book or a Ice Cream Man book, but there's a scene here where the clown walks by the door frame. So I'm wondering if that issue we see the clown. The point is, it reminds me a lot of like Hotel, if you guys read Hotel, where there's a lot of separate stories, but then we learn at the end they're all really connected, and we kind of see hints of the other stories issue to issue. And so that was really cool. There's also a really cool Joaquin Phoenix Joker moment in here, but the roles are reversed. So full of Easter eggs. This entire book, every single page has Easter eggs to previous Ice Cream Man or Ha books, and it ends just the same way as any of those other books, right? And so, it's about seeing the world as a beautiful place. It's about seeing the world as a complete hellhole, and how you deal with that. And everything is, is anything worth it? Everything is shitty. Everything is beautiful. It's a very abstract book. Lots and lots of callbacks to the other books. It reads just as well and is great as all the other W. Maxwell Prince books. Just a great read. A great read, and they're just, it's so connected to the other books. It's really kind of cool. So yeah. All right, Skybound X number 2. Got that awesome variant cover. I'm going to try to get these black and white covers. If my shop keeps ordering, and I can grab them in time. I love them. This one had Rick Grimes Chapter 2. It had Birthright, Everyday Hero Machine Boy, and Stillwater. So the Rick Grimes story is I just love it. We get some other characters in here. We get we get a villain in here who's just basically ripping everybody apart, showing Rick and the team who's boss, why Rick should be afraid. Everybody else is afraid. Everybody else has this idea that like resisting is completely pointless, right? Even with their enhancements and their modifications, it's completely pointless. And there's some good reason to believe that that's, the case here, right? We do get the introduction of another classic character from The Walking Dead. I'll let you read that. And something happens to Rick here. I'm not entirely sure how he's going to get back from that, but apparently there's some amazing healing techniques that these guys have developed over time. So really, really fun. If you like Walking Dead and you want to take it to like the absurd level, check it out. It's pretty cool. Birthright was another book in here, which was very interesting. I don't know anything about Birthright, but essentially there's this kid who's kind of has this map from his brother. It's like a piratey kind of time, I suppose. And so he's kind of going to this place where his brother never went. And so I think it's his brother. It's his brother or is his friend. I'm pretty sure it's his brother. But this place he never went is kind of this haunted area. And this kid meets Death, essentially. And him and Death kind of team up in this big battle that comes. And they both kind of show off their powers. It was a really interesting story. So I'm wondering if you guys have read Birthright. What do you guys think of that? Does this make sense at all? Is it just as obscure as the Rick Grimes Walking Dead ones? Because that has nothing to do with anything that happens in this book. It's just really kind of weird to see that happen. So just wondering if Birthright is anything like this in here, because if it is, I might check it out because it was pretty awesome. But yeah, this other book in here, Everyday Hero Machine Boy, I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. I got about halfway through it and I just didn't really care. So I didn't read that. The Stillwater one, it read just like a regular Stillwater issue in a way. I think I got like 4 or 5 issues in. I think this is the boy that's kind of up to no good all the time in the town. He kind of gets punished. You know how they bury you for a while just to kind of punish you because you can't die. And he kind of gets up and gets in some arguments with some folks around here. Has a really touching moment, I think with his dad or grandfather or something like that, about grandma and their cat, about kind of like letting go. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a really kind of touching story and reminded me of Stillwater and kind of was in that vein a lot. So I had a good time with the Stillwater book. So the Birthright, the Rick Grimes, the Stillwater issues or stories in this issue, great. Loved them. Loved them. Loved them. They're pretty cool. All right, keeping on the Image train here. We got The Cursed. Man-Eaters, The Cursed, number 1. So this book, I didn't read the original Man-Eaters. Don't know anything about it. It read really well still. There's a girl who's kind of seems really capable, kind of like a Girl Scout. She kind of goes back to the summer camp because her parents are too busy to watch her and they want to go on vacation. Apparently the same thing goes on with all the other kids because all these kids sign up for either football camp or craft camp. And all the boys get injured in football camp with concussions. So one of them tags along the craft camp. He's completely green, completely novice. She picks up on that immediately. Kind of takes him under her wing when they get to their destination, they get to their campground. Some weird stuff happens. Some supernatural stuff is kind of hinted at here. And then all of a sudden we got a giant mystery in the morning. Where did everybody go? Who knows? But she has a suspicion. She's suspecting that there's some foul play here. And I think she knows more about it than she's letting on here. So I don't know if it's a carryover from volume 1 or whatever the previous volume was. But I had a great time reading it because it was fun and interesting and the art was cool. And yeah, I liked it a lot. We got these weird like ghost figures on here. So that was pretty cool, I thought. So Man-Eater's the Cursed. I'm going to keep picking it up because it was really fun. All right, we got Jeff Lemire and Michael Walsh's version, issue 4 of Silver Coin. Now, man, I read issues 1, 2, and 3. Didn't really pick up on the connections of them. And then I went on Cerebros and Verno. He's like, dude, you gotta pay attention to this and this and this and this and this. And it just blew my mind, right? So I went into this book thinking, okay, I gotta pay attention. I gotta take my time. I gotta look at the backgrounds. I gotta look at the, I can't stop focusing on the people and the coin and what they're doing with it, but focus on the other things, right? So I went into this book with that mindset, and I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of a single thing that connected this book to the previous books. Now, there are some parts towards the end where we kind of get introduced to the coin. And I thought maybe there was going to be some kind of connection there, but maybe this is going to make more sense later because this is set in 2467. So it's, over 440 years into the future, right? So it's like, well, maybe this is going to be like an end state kind of a book, and then the other books are going to be before it and kind of tie it together and bring it to this book. So that's the excuse I'm giving myself as to why I didn't make any connections, because there was no connection to make. Guys, if you made a connection between this book and the other 3, I want to know. I want to know what I missed. And maybe I'm just super not paying attention to this. But let me know if you made a connection, because I'm going to be really interested. And I'm going to continue to focus. But man, I was really hoping I could make some kind of connection between the first 3, but I just couldn't do it. That's okay. All right, we're going to close it out with a few Aftershock books. This is Bunny Mask. Bunny Mask number 2. So this book was interesting too. So the first book, this is more in the future. I guess it's present day, technically at this time. We had some survivors from the cave in the previous book, where the deranged guy was raising his daughter. They break into the cave. The cave is like haunted supposedly with this bunny mask woman who is like just a murderer and kind of speaks in these riddles and things like that. So we kind of fast forward. This guy, he runs into the girl that he was in the cave with. And, she's grown up, he's grown up. They start talking, they start flirting, they start going on these dates. Eventually he starts there's bunny pictures showing up in his house and a bunny sculpture, and he starts hearing things and all this stuff. And so he's trying to figure out what the heck's going on. We do get some more bunny mask girl in the cave killing stuff in this book. And we have her showing up in other places as well. And then we have some mysterious guys trying to ruin the day for our main hero here. So, interesting book. I was like, I mostly enjoyed issue number 1, and then I enjoyed this book a little bit less. So I'm just trying to figure out where this story is going to go. I'll probably get another couple issues, but it was still fun, and I'm getting used to the art because Muty's on this book as well, from Maniac of New York and stuff like that, and it's really dramatic. I really like it. It's like watercolory, and then it really kind of changes the tone whenever you need to focus on something. And I appreciate that. And it's just kind of gorgeous, and it sets it completely apart from all the other books that you'll read that week. So Bunny Mask, interesting read. I might need to read these more as like a trade. That might read better. But yeah, I'm having a good time with it though. Beyond the Breach, Ed Brierson. So Beyond the Breach number 1, another Aftershock book. This book was really, really cool. You never quite know how new number 1s are going to turn out, right? This book has Something's Killing the Children vibes all over it. Take Something's Killing the Children, take Erica Slaughter, but remove her abilities, remove her knowledge of monsters and stuff like that. It's about a middle-aged woman. I think she said she's 40 in this book, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. And basically, she is in a situation where she's kind of like, breaking up with her boyfriend, and she hates her sister and everything else. And she's trying to get away. And she had I don't know if it's like a suicidal thing or not, but anyway, she wakes up and all hell's kind of broken loose, right? she's out in the street, she's in the road, she was driving her car. There's like these aliens and monsters all over the place, just terrorizing everything, like ripping these other people apart on the road. And her and this kid kind of escape, and it's kind of their journey of, hey kid, who are you? I'm going to keep you safe, things like that. And then the monsters kind of come back, right? And so it's like, well, how are we going to deal with all these monsters? So, it's very much a monsters terrorizing, ripping people in half kind of a book. And it's starring a woman and this kid. So there's a lot of Something's Killing the Children vibes with this. It's still read really, really nicely, and it still felt original, but you can't help but draw those comparisons, or at least I couldn't. So, art and paneling and story and everything, it was really, really fun. There's no explanations of what's going on yet, and I guess we'll figure it out. But Beyond the Breach, Ed Brierson, Aftershock, new #1. Check it out. Pretty cool. All right, in the last book, we have Clans of Bellari, #1, another Aftershock book. So, Clans of Bellari, let's go over the rules, because I feel like everyone reads the rules off. It says, primary law of the Bellari system, no person or clan may exit the system. Rule #1. Rule #2, no person or clan may do the work designated to another clan. Rule #3, clans cannot merge. And #4, any person that breaks the primary law shall be made an outcast. So the book's going to be about people that are in a certain clan doing the work of other clans. It's just baked into the rules, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have these rules. So we go over this main character. He's kind of this transporter, shuttle kind of guy for metal or other goods. He kind of helps bring goods from one clan to the other. And so, he's kind of a rule breaker, kind of a bad boy. We learn about some shady things that he kind of does here and there, for good reasons, right? He's trying to save some people, trying to do some deals on the side. He's raising this girl that he saved a long time ago, kind of keeping her past kind of like a secret. And so he's trying to raise her right, trying to make her understand, the rules of Bellari and the rules of just all these different clans. They kind of hint at a antagonist later, the chieftain of the Vane clan. And so I think he's kind of like the minor clan, right? It's like whenever they talk about him, he's got like long hair. He's got a big beard. He looks menacing. He's like surrounded by red all over the place. So they immediately want you to know that he's a threat, right? And so he's like, don't you ever go talk to him or mess with him. It's like, okay, well, I feel like he's going to be the bad guy, or this guy just hates him for some personal reason, right? So I'm sure we'll figure that out later. So we get some cliffhangers at the end. You're not supposed to mess with the guards. They check on people, making sure they're not doing the other work of the other clans, or they're not doing anything they're not supposed to be doing. And so, he has to kind of deal with some of these guards and train this girl to be respectful of the rules, because if you break the rules, you get exiled. And who wants to be exiled? So interesting book, Clans of Bellari. Interesting book for sure. I'm going to probably pick up the next issue and see where it goes. It was pretty fun. I will say that the paneling in this is a little bit, I don't know, it feels like it's zoomed in too much. I don't know. The paneling here, I'm going to show you a page. So there's no room to breathe at all, right? And so sometimes when paneling is like this, you continue to read it all the way across, but you don't do that here. There's no middle divider or anything. So it was interesting. That was the only criticism I had about that. Yeah, it was just kind of weird. And then it goes just right to the edge too. Whereas other books might not do that. Other books kind of give you that white border. You know what I mean? So that was interesting to read. Anyway, Clans of Bellari. Pretty interesting, #1. So guys, that's what I read. I'm not entirely sure what my favorite book of the week was. Honestly, I think Kanto was really, really good. I think Haha was an exceptional read as well. And then actually Man-Eater's the Cursed was actually pretty fun too. So I think of those three books are probably my favorite books of the week. Some of the weaker books, Bunny Mask, I'm going to keep kind of putting on the hot seat maybe. Ninjak was pretty weak, I think. Sinister's War, and probably The Joker, honestly. Completely unnecessary, but a good story. Anyways, let me know in the comments, guys, what you thought. What books did you read? Did I miss anything in these books? Did I miss any kind of key elements that might be helpful for me to enjoy them? Let me know in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the like button, subscribe button, and ding, ding, ding that notification bell for future videos, as Big Herm would say. Really appreciate you sticking around. Thanks for watching another Nick at Night. We will see you in the comments.